In the last few weeks, we've talked about intentionally nurturing relationships in order to share Christ with people. And this week, I want to talk about inviting people into a discipleship relationship. And as you prepare to build into other people, you're going to be evaluating who those people are. And so the practical question is, where do I find people that I can help to pursue God? See, you're motivated, you get it, you want to be multiplicational, but which people should you be investing your energies in? Well, the obvious first answer would be somebody that you've had an opportunity to help lead to faith in Christ, or at least you've been part of that process in their life. You're the best person to now help them build on their faith foundation. But beyond that, really, there are plenty of other Christians who've never had anyone intentionally disciple them, who've never been through anything like our Foundation series. And so there's plenty of untapped potential of people who can become multiplicational themselves with your encouragement. You remember in week 1, we talked about a sphere of influence. And that's where you look to see who God has potentially placed in your life. And that would consist of family, neighbors, people you work with, friends from wherever, people you attend church with, people you serve in a ministry with. Don't assume that just because a person is a Christian or goes to church that they don't need to be discipled, because most church-going Christians are not helping others help others to pursue God. So start by evaluating your sphere of relationships. Now, you might remember that in week 3, we talked about discipleship as a process that goes through identifiable stages, and we can label those in different ways. We talked about win, build, send. You know, a person goes from being an investigator to a believer to a servant to a discipler. Or we talk about trust Jesus, honor God, and help others. And I want to remind you about that because you're going to have to assess for people that might be interested in working with you, what would be the next step for them in their pursuit of God. And you remember we said that at each point in the process, there are key decisions that people make. A decision to investigate Jesus, a decision to trust in or to follow Jesus, a decision to live for God or to cultivate that relationship with God, a decision to serve others, a decision to make disciples. And so you're going to want to assess a person's next step in light of that process and in light of those key decisions. And so as you pray about who to approach with an invitation to your group, be thinking and praying about what bridge the person needs to go over next. From an investigator to a believer, the bridge would be 101, and along with it, the whole 101 library. To go from initially trusting in Jesus to then a lifestyle of honoring God, the bridge would be 201 and the 201 library. From working on their own relationship with God to now begin to serve other people, you would go through 301 and use the 301 library. And from serving others to multiplying other disciples, you would again go through 301 and the materials in the 301 library. So you want to assess who you might invite and where they're at in their process of pursuing God. But then how do you actually go about starting up something with that person? Well, you need to make a particular invitation to a particular commitment. Go do it personally. Talk to them in the lobby at church. Get together for coffee. Make a phone call, but you need to make an invitation. Don't rely on general announcements like the church bulletin or just a general posting on Facebook. Go talk to the person face to face and make your invitation specific. Spell out exactly what you're inviting them to do. Make your expectations clear, how often you're going to meet, for how long, what your goals, your purpose are, so they can evaluate what you're inviting them to do. And then you want to make the commitment manageable. You're not asking for a lifetime commitment, maybe 4 to 6 weeks with an option of renewing after that. If people aren't sure what the commitment is going to be and how the thing is going to work, then they're not going to want to get involved. And then you can use the commitment to gauge people's motivation. You want to work with motivated people, but often you can't tell who's motivated until you give them an opportunity. So how they respond to your invitation will help you assess how motivated they are. So take a few minutes to talk about who you might invite and how you might go about doing that.